Twitter criticism. I guess I'm going to read. I don't know. I don't know yet. But the usual news from Global South. Something. Some news from Global South. Here under the bridge. Under the bridge news. Under the bridge news. This way, huh? This way. I guess the camera will be better, like can be better, yeah. Something like, but I guess you're not seeing the sea. We cannot see the sea that way. Well, remember the sea, okay? The sea is the sea is there, blue. The blue sea is there. I guess I'm going to read the special economy from Al Jazeera. Special economy from Al Jazeera. And go like this. Just 1 second. It's opening, look. There's 2 live updates on Al Jazeera. The regular genocide dossier is saying that Israeli attacks kill 50 across Gaza as heavy strikes hit north, south. What? And there's another live updates from Donald Trump. Donald Trump warns the U.S. could, quote unquote, take a pass on Ukraine peace negotiations. But by this time, nobody believes anymore in Donald Trump, I guess. No, I guess people still believe him because, you know, I had an insight. Communism is so hard. Socialism revolution is so hard because people love dollars. Nobody wants the dollars to end up. Everybody, even Trotsky's parties from Brazil, they all love money. They all love dollars. So that's the sad true about planet Earth. The dollar will keep existing because of people don't know how to live without it. And if you say something to them, even Trotskys will tell you, so you probably are a criminal. Yeah, they will say you are a criminal because of criticism. Anyway, these live updates about Trump is about the economy. There's an article with the title "Ripple Effect in U.S. Anti-Immigrant Policy Strains Child and Healthcare and Elder Care." I'm going to read the live updates from Donald Trump. That says, the show President Donald Trump has indicated he feels a breakthrough on a Ukraine-Russia peace deal is close at hand. Donald Trump warns the U.S. could take a pass on Ukraine peace negotiations. The president's words follow similar remarks from Marco Rubio, who said the U.S. may quote-unquote move on if no progress is made. By Ali Harb, 18 April 2025, updated 6 hours ago. And we have the usual summary. United States President Donald Trump has warned that if Russia or Ukraine make peace talks difficult, quote-unquote difficult, he may withdraw from the negotiations. Quote, "We are going to just take a pass," end quote. Following a meeting with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, US President Donald Trump has announced that he will visit Italy in the very near future, end quote. Second, in the wake of a deadly shooting at Florida State University that killed 2 and injured 6, Trump has reaffirmed his intention to, quote-unquote, always protect the Constitution's Second Amendment right to bear arms. Maybe that will help to shoot a crazy guy. And third, Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland has met with a strongly deported man, Gilmar Abrego Garcia, in a prison in El Salvador. 7 minutes ago, Trump is disappearing. Trump is disappearing and kidnapping people. Democratic lawmaker, what? Progressive Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal has slammed the detention of foreign students critical of Israel and the deportation of undocumented immigrants without allowing them a hearing. Some of those immigrants are being held at a maximum security prison for, quote-unquote, terrorists in El Salvador, an arrangement for which the U.S. government is paying approximately $6 million. Many have not been convicted of a crime, despite Trump's allegations that they are gang members. Quote, Trump is disappearing and kidnapping people across this country with zero due process, Jayapal wrote on a social media post. Quote, Congress must hold hearings on Mahmoud Khalil, Gilmar, Armando Abrego Garcia, Alfredo Juarez, and more. The administration must held accountable, end quote. And there's a photograph from Pramila Jayapal. 22 minutes ago, White House says Gilmar Abrego Garcia is never coming back. The Trump administration is doubling down on its intention to defy court orders to facilitate the return of a wrongly deported migrant from El Salvador, Gilmar Abrego Garcia. The White House shared a social media post that purported to, quote-unquote, fix a New York Times headline on Senator Chris Van Hollen's meeting with Abrego Garcia, who was deported to a prison in the Central American country. It also renewed accusations that Garcia is a member of the MS-13 gang, saying that he's never coming back, quote-unquote, never coming back. Garcia has never been charged with a crime in the U.S. 37 minutes ago, April 18th, Friday, live updates from Donald Trump economy, I guess. I'm not seeing why this is economy. Why this economy? U.S. officials allegedly warned Venezuelans of deportation under Alien Enemies Act. 2 Venezuelan men being held in the Blue Bonnet detention facility in Arlington, Texas, have reported that U.S. officials said they will be immediately deported under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. The American Civil Liberties Union has asked a court in Texas to intervene. The Supreme Court recently ruled that while the Trump administration may use the obscure 18th century law, it must allow individuals facing deportation to have adequate notice to request a hearing in their cases. Critics, however, have warned that the Trump administration will seek to make such requests impossible by rapidly deporting immigrants before their cases can be heard. The Texas case appears to be the first use of the Alien Enemies Act for deportation since the ruling. At the swearing-in ceremony for Mehmet Oz earlier in the day, Trump briefly addressed the issue, saying he did not know the specific individuals in question. Quote, "But if they are bad people, I will certainly authorize it. But if they are bad people, I will certainly authorize it." Oh yeah, it's an 18th century law against bad people. Who knows? Huh? You know, if people are allowed to have guns, good and bad will be very, very relative. Maybe us, the bad people, revolutionary people, communists, will win, you know? Definitely. And 1 hour ago, AIPAC calls for maintaining quote-unquote maximum pressure on Iran ahead of the second round of talks between the Trump administration and Iran. The American Israel Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC, says the negotiations should be quote-unquote time-bound and aimed at quote verifiable and permanently dismantling end quote Tehran's nuclear program. Quote, "To be effective, these talks must continue to be coupled with the implementation of maximum pressure and a credible threat of military force," the lobby ground said in an email to supporters. I didn't understood why all this is economy, but it was on the economy chapter, the economy magazine. New live update. I guess it's not about economy neither. I'm going to read just the last one. I'm going to read the 1 hour ago, and was AIPAC calls for maintaining maximum pressure on Iran. Oh no, I just read that. 1 hour ago also, judge stops mass firing at Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Federal Judge Amy Berman Jackson has suspended the Trump administration's plan to fire nearly 90% of the employees at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB. Quote, "I am deeply concerned given the scope and speed of the agency's action," Judge Berman Jackson ruled. "The sweeping nature of the layoffs, which will affect up to 1,500 of the Bureau's 1,700 employees, raised questions about, quote, whether the agency is now in compliance with a preliminary injunction Berman put in place," she said. In March, Berman Jackson issued an order temporarily preventing the Trump White House from closing the CFPB, a watchdog that ensures consumers' rights are protected in the financial marketplace. Conservatives have accused the CFPB of overreach, with Trump advisor Elon Musk saying he planned to delete, quote unquote, delete the bureau. An appeals court this week pared back the scope of Berman Jackson's initial injunction, which prevented staffing cuts in addition to stopping the sheltering of the CFPB. But the appeals court said firings could only take place after quote particularized assessment and of each job cut. The White House argued on Friday that it complied with that ruling, but Judge Berman Jackson said she will review if the widespread layoffs announced to gutting of the CFPB in violation of her March injunction. And the new live update says, a few seconds ago, courts pushed for more congressional funding for security. The U.S. court system has warned that insufficient funding will endanger employees, quote, at a time of rising threats to federal judges, end quote. A statement released on Friday said that the judicial system had petitioned Congress in the last week to address the budget shortfall. It explained that the systems like the $750 million court security program were operating at budget levels set in fiscal year 2023 as some inadequate to handle the pressing needs. Quote, consecutive years of flat security funding comes at a time when threats against federal judges and courthouses are escalating, making the situation unsustainable in the current environment, end quote. Judges Robert Conrad Jr. and Amy St. Eve wrote in a accompanying letter. The statement explains that 67 federal judges handling quote unquote high-profile cases are currently receiving services, including enhanced online security screenings to protect them from doxing and other malicious attacks. While the statement does not mention the Trump administration, the U.S. president and his allies have repeatedly criticized judges for unfavorable rulings, suggesting they should be impeached or that they have circumvented the will of the voters. At least one district judge has reported receiving a pizza delivery made in the name of her dead son, who was shot to death by this grounded lawyer. Anyway, creepy news from the US. Not so interesting, but I did it. I guess the last time I read the Trump news, Trump latest news. I'm going to release this dog here.